cents per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,188 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.9 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $912. Antiwar.com reports Turkey has long sought an internationally imposed series of safe zones in northern Syria to house refugees as a way to limit the number of refugees who actually end up crossing into Turkey. The White House resisted, fearing it would be too complicated, and President Trump's intention to shift Syria policy towards fighting the Islamic State made it seem like the idea was very unlikely. Instead, President Trump made a surprising move, ordering the State Department and Pentagon to prepare for the establishment of safe zones in Syria, giving them 90 days to provide a full blueprint for how they would go about it. Arguments over the theoretical viability of such safe zones centered on the question of airspace control, with Turkey arguing the zones would be meaningless without a no-fly zone, and Pentagon officials warning at the time that would mean war with both Syria and Russia. Trump has made it clear he does not want to go to war with Russia, though so far it's unclear how this will work with the safe zones order. Another complicating factor is that Turkey has conquered a significant chunk of northern Syria in the past months, and presumably will be loath to demilitarize part of its territory if the U.S. stops short of the no-fly zone declaration. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports Greenpeace demonstrators in downtown Washington, D.C. climbed a construction crane several blocks from the White House on Wednesday morning and displayed a sign reading, "Resist." Akina Brown, spokeswoman for the Metropolitan Police Department, said 7 people climbed the crane at a construction area in the vicinity of 15th and L Streets, the site of the old Washington Post building in northwestern Washington. The protesters tethered themselves to the horizontal arm of the crane after climbing 270 feet up before unfurling a 70-foot by 35-foot banner featuring the word "Resist." A statement released after the climb by Greenpeace, the environmental activist group, said the protest is a call for those who want to resist President Donald Trump's attacks on environmental, social, economic, and educational justice to contribute to a better America. The protest Wednesday came the day after Trump signed executive measures that would make it possible to complete the Dakota Access Pipeline and restart the process for the construction of the Keystone XL oil pipeline from Canada. Each project has been the source of contention on environmental grounds and have spurred numerous demonstrations. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the election of Republican businessman Donald Trump as president of the United States has some Californians dreaming of their own country. 1 in 3 California residents supports the most populous U.S. state's peaceful withdrawal from the Union, according to a new Reuters Ipsos opinion poll. Many of those in support are Democrats strongly opposed to Trump's ascension to the country's highest office. The 32% support rate is sharply higher than the last time the poll asked Californians about secession in 2014, when 1 in 5 or 20% favored it around the time Scotland held its independence referendum and voted to remain part of the United Kingdom. California also surpassed the national average favoring secession, which stands at 22%, down from 24% in 2014. The poll surveyed 500 Californians among more than 14,000 adults nationwide from December 6th to January 19th. While interest has remained about the same nationwide, it has also found more favoring California, and the concept has earned a catchy nickname, CalExit. The campaign to remove California from the United States is called Yes California and dubbed CalExit by pundits, comparing the effort to Brexit. On Friday, activists from Yes California waved signs saying California out of the United States and U.S. out of California at an anti-Trump protest in Los Angeles and San Francisco. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This week, the Forest Service rolled out a brand new Smokey the Bear campaign in which the popular mascot burns to death. They say they hope the shocking turn will get people serious about preventing forest fires for once. The new campaign depicts Smokey the Bear noticing a family leave a flame unattended. Before he can put it out, the entire forest is consumed and Smokey dies in agony while trying to fight the blaze. Despite educating the public for over 70 years, the Forest Service says wildfires have only gotten worse and it was time to take their warnings to the next level. The new ads aim to show that if Smokey the Bear can be killed by the very type of fire he works so tirelessly to prevent, it could happen to anyone at any time. So what's next for the long-running campaign? Well, now that their primary spokesperson is out of the picture, the Ad Council says the PSAs will shift focus to a new character named Little Brian. He's the boy whose family caused the fire in the first place, and he's grappling with crippling guilt over Smokey's death.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in number here in just a moment, but, we actually have brought some fairly interesting things to the table tonight. The we is Daryl.
Heather.
And Chris.
And let me unmute one of these things. Hold on. I don't know why we're coming across two pots on the board here. And I really don't know.
Is that one of our technical difficulties we sometimes encounter?
There is something here.
Who doesn't want to hear Daryl twice?
I know.
I don't know. And if I just keep muting stuff, then, eventually it will go away. But then we won't be able to hear the music at the end of the segment. So we'll figure that out. There were some weird poll numbers that came out. I say weird because I've got a set of polling numbers. You've got a set of polling numbers, Chris, and they're from two different places, but asking fairly similar questions. Apparently, according to public policy polling, Americans think that Donald Trump will be the worst president since Richard Nixon. The newest poll from PPP, and they actually did this just a couple of days ago, January 23rd and 24th. They asked voters a variety of questions, 42 in fact, but voters are split evenly in their appraisal of Trump's job so far. And of course, he's only been in the office for less than a week.
Well, what a busy week he's had. He has already removed all rights of all women, correct?
No.
Well, I thought that's what the protests were about. Okay. Well, maybe he hasn't done that, but he's done a lot of other things.
We're talking about Trump.
Yeah, and
putting America first by allowing a Canadian oil company to build a pipeline through the U.S. so that they can sell oil to China.
Yeah, well, he's got that going for him. But no, I have a lot of friends on the left and a lot of friends on the right, and the ones on the left sound like my friends on the right a year ago.
Or 8 years ago.
Well, take your pick, but it really is sort of that, my God, this man has single-handedly dismantled the fabric of society in a week.
Right.
That's what I'm getting from my friends on the left.
According to the poll numbers here, 44% approve of the job that Trump is doing so far. 44% disapprove of the job so far. The rest are undecided. Less than a week, and they asked this on the third and fourth day that he was in office.
Well, this is going to be a long 4 years.
It is, isn't it? It is going to be a long term.
When it comes to favorability rating, and this is what I find to be the second most interesting number out of the numbers here from public policy polling. Favorability rating. Generally, after someone is elected, their favorability goes up a little bit.
Sure.
Donald Trump's has stayed about the same, with only 44% of voters having a positive view of him, 50% having a negative view. So his unfavorable rating has gone down just a little bit, but he still has a negative favorability rating.
All in all, I think everybody recognized he'd be a very divisive character after Obama.
Yes.
Who I thought was pretty divisive.
Dean Debnam, the president of public policy polling, says Americans got to see two major events last week, or rather last weekend, Donald Trump's inauguration and the women's marches across the country. They came away with a much more favorable view of the women's marches. There are a number of reasons that Trump is continuing his unpopularity. One piece is that voters don't like the policy he wants to enact. They found that only 34% of respondents actually want to build a wall on the Mexican border if taxpayers have to pay for it, compared to 53% who oppose doing so. They also found that with Trump now in office, the Affordable Care Act is reaching record levels of popularity at 45%.
Oh, my God.
And 41% are opposed. Only 30% of voters think the best plan is to repeal it and start over. 61% of respondents would prefer Congress to keep the ACA and, quote, fix the parts that aren't working.
That's the problem. And I've said this so many times. You can't. Repeal and replace was the stupidest slogan I have ever heard of in my life. There is no replacing a socialist program with a better socialist program. Well, what can I do? What? It's just socialist
You replace
light.
it with nothing. That's the Ron Paul thing, right? Get rid of the income tax, replace it with nothing.
Right. You can say that. Okay, well, maybe that's more palatable. I just think you repeal and repeal. How's that?
Yes.
I'm fine with that.
Repeal, the whole replace thing is absolutely ludicrous.
And what kills me is that when we talk about that, and if I ever bring up that point, I'm instantly painted as someone who hates the poor and hates the people that don't have insurance. The opposite is true. I care very much about my fellow human beings, and I want them to be healthy. Mm-hmm. I want to be healthy.
Yeah.
But I know that these types of programs, as has been shown throughout history, will end up killing more people. Talk to the people on the year-long or multi-year-long waiting list for surgeries that could save their lives. That happens in Canada, that happens in England, that happens in other places where this debacle has been tried.
Regarding Trump's tax returns, 59% of voters think that Trump needs to release them, compared to just 32% who say it's not necessary. In fact, 54% of voters would support a law requiring presidential candidates to release 5 years of tax returns in order to appear on the ballot. Just 34% actually have any kind of understanding of things that are legal and say that they would oppose putting that requirement in
like
place.
Deja vu, only now
Isn't
it's
it?
tax returns instead of a birth certificate.
Exactly. The other thing I would ask those people is like, okay, for you to get a job, we require you to release 5 years of your tax returns. Or if you want to run for your local town council.
Yeah, they should
5
drug
years of your
test him
tax.
too. Make sure he's not smoking pot.
Good one. We'll throw that on the list, Daryl.
And let's see what else they have here. 61% of voters think Trump needs to fully divest from his business interest. Only 28% say it's not necessary for him to do so. Now, one thing that I do find fairly interesting, and I've not actually fact-checked this myself, but I've seen reports that Donald Trump apparently has some kind of investment in Energy Transfer Partners.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and I haven't verified that for myself. This is one I'll kind of agree with the majority on. I do think that if you're going to be in public office, you should not have glaring conflicts of interest.
Right. Dick Cheney and Halliburton.
That's a great example.
Great example. And, of course, Cheney did sell off his shares, but that didn't stop people from saying that, he was doing all of the things he did because he owned shares of Halliburton.
Right. Or whether there was some sweetheart deal at the end of his vice presidency that would return those shares to him in some way.
Right. And, of course, Energy Transfer Partners being the parent company of the Dakota Access Pipeline. Now, regarding Russia, because that's something that, we just have to keep dragging the Cold War out for as long as possible. Trump's alleged ties to Russia continue to be a problem. Only 13% of voters have a favorable opinion of Russia, compared to 60% with a negative view of the country. Vladimir Putin himself has a favorability rating of 10%. 67% have an unfavorable opinion of Putin.
I want that broken down. How about the ladies, though? Do the ladies like Putin?
Give me 1 second, and I can actually pull, because
I was sort of kidding there, but
because they do break it down. I've got the full results here.
While you're looking for that, I mean, my other comment would be: can we start referring to this as Cold War II? Like we have World War I, World War II.
I mean,
this is absolutely. I mean, this was a construct of the Obama administration.
I don't know if the ladies would like that name change, though. You know,
they actually do not break it down male and female on this, but they do break it down by age, and he's more popular. Putin is more popular with the 30 to 45-year-old crowd.
Interesting. Your mom?
Yeah, no, my mom likes him. She thinks he's hot.
$855, $450 free.
Is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now. 1-800-957-5495. Call now and you'll also qualify for free shipping. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear things crisply and clearly, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so small and discreet, people usually don't even notice you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear things more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial and free shipping. If you like it, you could even get free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-957-5495. That's 1-800-957-5495. 1-800-957-5495.
Do you trust the economy? How about our banking system? Our president states that we're sitting on a bubble right now, and when the Fed raises interest rates, bad things are going to happen. Well, the Fed is outlining rate hikes here and now. There's never been a better time to turn your IRA into physical gold with GSI Exchange. 800-261-5570. That's 800-261-5570. GSI Exchange can make this happen fast, and it's money you control, not the big banks. 800-261-5570. Ask about our Gold and Silver Investors Guide and learn how your qualified IRA transfers can get you $1,500 in free physical gold or silver delivered right to your home. GSI Exchange has an A-plus rating on the Better Business Bureau, too. Get the security for your money now. Call GSI Exchange at 800-261-5570. 800-261-5570. That's 800-261-5570.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait
now.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about some interesting polling numbers coming out of public policy polling. Apparently, Vladimir Putin has an approval rating of 10%. The country of Russia has an approval rating of 13%. And Congress, we didn't get to this, but Congress has an approval rating of 15%.
Is that up?
That is up.
I was going to say.
By about 50%. But the approval rating of Congress and Russia are within the margin of error. So let that sink in for a moment. Something that is definitely, well, there is no margin of error here. If you have Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrencies, you need to download the official wallet of Free Talk Live. That's the Jaxx wallet, Jaxx. You can find that at jaxx.io or in the app store of your choice. There's no wallet like it. You can hold Bitcoin, Ether, DAO. I believe they also have Dash. They're working on adding other currencies as well. And there's Shapeshift integration, which allows for frictionless, easy exchange between currencies. It was created by Free Talk Live listener Anthony Diorio, who's also the creator of CryptoKit and the founder of Ethereum. It's easy to back up your wallet and recover your funds with Jaxx. And Jaxx is striving to give you command over your digital life. Coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. Your digital command center in the palm of your hand. Jaxx, the official wallet of Free Talk Live. That's jaxx.io. We'll get back into these numbers, but let's go to Skype, where we've got James Cleveland calling in from Colorado. James, of course, a former co-host of Free Talk Live. James, you're on. Go ahead with your thoughts.
So I guess I was calling about, so China, they have something called the Great Firewall of China, and they block all these different websites, including things like Google, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Dropbox. So now they've done something where they've made VPNs illegal. And what a VPN is, it's like you can set up a server in another country and connect to that server, and it encrypts your traffic. So it looks like you're coming out of, let's say, the Netherlands or wherever you connect to.
Right.
But they're calling it quote unquote a cleanup of their internet connections. But basically, they're cracking down on VPNs and making them illegal to use.
Yeah, we've heard.
So
we've heard about some of this before, to where there was a listener that had traveled to China, was using a VPN to get around some of the firewalls, that Great Firewall of China, and he said that he kept losing his internet connection. And my guess is that, the Chinese government has figured out, here are the IP addresses connected to certain VPNs.
Right.
Let's just block them off completely.
Sounds like it'd take a big blacklist.
It would. And, sometimes they might just, everything that starts with, 192 dot blah blah winds up getting, or they know what the IP addresses are from China and Southeast Asia and blacklist everything else. I don't really know, but this is something that I have heard people talk about for a while, specifically on some of the tech shows.
Well, my take on it is this is the type of thing I would expect from a communist country.
Yes,
this is what they do if they're going to maintain control. The way they maintain control, that's going to be it. And what concerns me more is when we have had over the last maybe pretty much since Snowden, conversations taking place in Congress debating whether we need to take some action against this ability to avoid lawful monitoring of our internet usage by the NSA and things like that. So don't think this is just China. This gets talked about in Washington.
Right. The difference
the
is...
other topic I had... Oh, go ahead, Daryl.
Hold on, James. The difference is that, in China, they're actually doing something about, preventing people from using VPNs. And I've heard a theory that the Chinese government is trying to create sort of an intranet that would exist only within China, and you can't go outside of it, and you can't get in it if you're not there.
Yeah, it's already disturbing. I mean, if you've seen Tank Man, like if you type in Tiananmen Square in China, like no pictures of Tank Man comes up. If you guys ever seen that documentary,
I actually
so it's really just
remember
disturbing how they're censoring things.
I remember watching that live on television, or it might have
if you
been
type it in on Google.
It might have been delayed
Well, you
by
can't
an
use
hour.
Google.
Is it like, do they
In
not
China,
have Google in
No,
China?
they do not have Google in China.
So they have like a Google China.
Yeah,
it's
but-
like their censored version. I don't know what it's called, but
Yeah, and there's
if
a couple.
you type in Tiananmen Square, you won't see the Tank Man picture.
Wow.
So those things like things like Facebook and other social media sites and stuff like that, they're completely separate from country to country?
Well, they just block it all. So yeah, if you
The
type
governments
www,
do, or-
yeah, the government.
Right. So right now, I am using a VPN, and when I go to Google, it automatically winds up giving the country TLD for where it thinks I am. So right now, and I'll show you off the air, but right now my computer thinks that I am in Great Britain. So I did a Google search, and it automatically defaulted to google.co.uk.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
there
there's
are
nothing-
different results. If I manually type in google.com, then the results will be slightly different from what I'm seeing at google.co.uk.
But there is no Google.cn, which is China. That doesn't exist because Chinese and Google will not play. That's where that's at.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean VPNs too. I mean you can use them for legitimate purposes. Like if you're at a public Wi-Fi, it's a good idea to connect to a VPN and then go to the internet.
Yep.
Or if you're like a lot of workplaces, you'll VPN into your company's servers. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's really messed up and stupid for them to do that.
Right,
But
and then
just other,
you mentioned being on a public Wi-Fi. Well, James, you mentioned being on a public Wi-Fi. I know for a fact that McDonald's, if you're sitting at a McDonald's or a Starbucks or a Target using their Wi-Fi, there are certain sites that they will not let you go to because, they've deemed them to, not be safe for work or whatever. But if you're on a VPN, you should be able to skirt around that.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm more concerned when I use public Wi-Fi hotspots or common hotspots like a McDonald's. Guys,
People
that's
sniffing your packets.
It is. That is the easiest way to get your stuff hacked. It's very easy to be on one of those networks and to gather all the packets going back and forth, including your usernames and passwords for any site that you happen to be logging into, including your banking sites and things like that.
So what is your recommendation? Just not use those things altogether?
No, I use them all the time, but as James rightly points out, use a VPN. Yep.
James, thanks for the call. Hope everything is going well for you out in the green state of Colorado. More on the various polling numbers that we have, plus your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Lifetime Grazed 100% grass-fed beef has the health benefits you seek. When compared to conventional beef, it offers good fats while virtually eliminating the bad. That's the result of cattle who never eat grain, ever. Rich in antioxidants, including vitamin E, C, beta-carotene, and CLA. No artificial hormones, antibiotics, or other drugs. For all our fresh, non-cooked products with only 100% grass-fed beef, go to MidasResources.com. Use voucher code GCN to get 30% off your order. MidasResources.com or find us on Facebook.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Angioprim can unclog blocked arteries and improve blood flow in all parts of your body. Angioprim is oral chelation. Easy, simple, liquid oral chelation. You take it with juice before breakfast and forget about it. Angioprim works fast, unlike old-fashioned chelation that takes hours. Just log on to angioprim.com. That's Angioprim, ANGIOPRIM, angioprim.com. Angioprim users say they have more energy, more strength, more endurance. Increased circulation and blood flow will make all your body parts work better. Log on to angioprim.com to get more information on how you can get started and start feeling better, having fun, and doing more again. Lots more. Talk to a trained Angioprim consultant. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221. Or log on for complete information. Angioprim.com. That's Angioprim.com. Find out how Angioprim can work for you. Get the facts about Angioprim at Angioprim.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome, whether it be on the polling numbers of Donald Trump and Russia and Vladimir Putin and Congress. And, well, there are more interesting numbers that we'll delve into, but again, your calls and thoughts welcome on that or whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE. In studio, it's Daryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And voters, according to public policy polling, voters are so dim on Trump that they think in the first week of his administration that he will prove to be the worst U.S. president since Richard Nixon. So they asked the questions and they went backwards. Who's a better president? Donald Trump, or who will end up being a better president, Donald Trump or Barack Obama? Obama got him by 5%, 48-43. George Bush, 5% advantage, 40-35. Bill Clinton has him by 10.
Wow.
51-41. Daddy Bush, George H.W., 47-32, so 15% point spread. Ronnie Reagan has a 40-point spread over Donald Trump, 57-17. Even Jimmy Carter and Gerald Ford have advantages over Donald Trump.
Oh, my God.
45-42 and 42
people
to 37.
voting weren't even alive during his presidency.
Yeah,
so how
I mean,
are they
that's-
comparing?
I was born during the Carter administration. So, yes, I was alive. I don't really know anything about it other than what I've read in some history books, and even that is sketchy.
So
all it says is, Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer, became president, and then Iranian hostages.
So before anybody brings up my age once again, yes, I was born during the Johnson
I
administration.
was going to say, is it bad that I don't know who's
Andrew, nice one. Where's our rim shot? We have to have a soundboard in here for rim shots.
Wait, who was president in 1990?
1990
That would have been
was,
Daddy Bush.
Daddy Bush.
Daddy Bush. Oh, okay. I'm a Bush baby.
You are.
And
can you say that?
That sounds so wrong.
And Donald Trump has a 9-point advantage as of right now in his first week in office. 9 percentage point advantage over Richard Nixon, 40-31.
Well, I say we just write the whole thing off then. The people have spoken. They spoke in the majority at the polls, so that was the first one. And now there's obviously polling, so we better just rip up this constitutional republic by the roots and start over.
Yeah.
Now,
is that it?
Let me give you the most, and there's definitely more here that we can pick at throughout the night, but the most interesting question of all of the questions that they asked: is it acceptable to punch a Nazi in the face? 18% of voters responded yes. It is acceptable to punch a Nazi in the face. 51% said no, and 31% said that they're unsure. Supporters of Clinton and Trump are actually tied in agreement on this, with 18% of each saying it's okay, whereas supporters of Jill Stein overwhelmingly favor punching Nazis. 78% of respondents who said that they voted for Jill Stein also said that they're in favor of punching Nazis in the face.
Nazi punching.
Now, one thing that I think is rather interesting.
Violate the NAP.
I was just going to say, what did the Nazi do to me? And I'm not going to hit somebody just because
here's the thing.
Don't agree with my beliefs.
I'm not defending punching a Nazi in the face, but I do find it kind of ironic that the people that are willing to throw someone from a helicopter for their beliefs are all upset when they get punched in the face for theirs.
Yeah.
Just a bit of irony there. Let's go to the phones. We've got Patrick calling in from Arizona listening to K-Talks. Patrick, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick.
Hello?
You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, guys. Oh, I finally got you on the radio. Usually it's just the two guys. I'm the police officer.
Yeah, go ahead with your thoughts, Patrick.
The other day I caught your comment about, stop asking trucks to open up the back when we pulled them over. The actual story goes, I was actually trying to help the guy. He said he had a loose wire on the taillight. Okay, he said, I need a screwdriver. So I'm about ready to get the screwdriver, and I hear a baby crying in the back of the truck. What would you do? I mean, it's a 50-foot semi. It's supposed to be carrying stuff. A baby crying in the back of a truck? At first, I thought I was hearing things, but then this guy's face started to turn he looked like he was going to run. And I'd be honest with you, out here in the middle of the desert, I don't know where he was planning on going. But, you say our concerns are for, the welfare of people, and all this trafficking and stuff that's been going on, coyoting and all that. But, that was the only reason why that door got popped open.
Because somebody made something illegal to do. And,
that too.
Yeah.
But the fact is I was just doing my job. But what would you do if you heard a baby crying in the back of a semi and a guy looking all suspicious, and you're trying to help him fix his light because he said he just has to hook up a wire. So, yeah, we had a screwdriver in the back of the vehicle, so we were trying to help him because the roads were icy and we didn't want him, getting into an accident with a light out. We were trying to do the right thing as a Samaritan and also do our job, because he was sort of swerving a little bit when we were coming up behind him, and with the light out, we weren't gonna even give him a ticket.
Well, Patrick, I'll tell you, there's nothing that makes me more nervous than a police officer driving behind me for some distance, even when I'm not doing anything illegal, because I have been pulled over for, basically no reason. So, yeah, when a cop pulls up behind me, I get a little nervous, and I'm not necessarily going to be driving the best.
So can I throw this out? I'm going to get slammed for this, and I welcome it. The reason a baby was put in danger in the back of a truck is because of our immigration policy.
Well, but we don't have anything to do
whose
about
baby
that.
was it?
We were just doing that. We really actually, a lot of times we pull up on things as officers, and we're sort of caught up in a loop. We don't do our job, we're yelled at. If we do our job, we're yelled at.
You bet.
So you try to do the right thing. You try to, the key is really, it's really somewhat, it really, if you're a real good officer, you learn that some things are really none of your business, but it's your job to report it, just to report it, to do what you're supposed to do, and then leave it alone. You don't carry a grudge. You just do the job to make sure things are safe. But when you said that the other day, it sort of burned me up because I was like, wow, I remember that incident. It was sad because there was 25 people in the back of that truck.
So,
and believe me,
let me ask this question, Patrick. Let me ask this question. After you opened up or had the driver of the semi open up the back trailer, what wound up happening?
Well, my partner got a little bit freaked, so I had to calm him down because he was a rookie.
So how many people got arrested?
Well, actually, the driver. The other people were. They took them to a facility, and I didn't follow up on it because, like I say, it's none of my business. But the fact is the driver got arrested for one reason. He had falsified his ID.
Hold the thought, Patrick. I want to find out the rest of the story. So hold the line. We'll come back to Patrick, who actually, for listeners that aren't aware, he has a police officer. 855-450-FREE.
If you're a sleep apnea sufferer who's on the go to your phone right now. Because if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll qualify to try the world's first portable mini CPAP device absolutely risk-free for 10 restful nights. It's the Transcend Mini CPAP, an engineering marvel that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Its unique design is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. No more dragging around a big, bulky CPAP. Now you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for 10 nights by being one of the first 100 lucky callers to call minicpap.com now. 1-800-940-1740. Transcend is FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. You can also add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. So don't wait. To guarantee your 10-night in-home trial, be one of the first 100 lucky callers to call now. 1-800-940-1740. That's 1-800-940-1740.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-340-5528. That's 800-340-5528. Again, 800-340-5528.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $10 lower at $1,190 per ounce. Silver is 12 cents lower at $16.92 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $912 US. Metals continue lower this morning, likely reacting to the Dow rising above 20,000 for the first time. To take advantage and buy on this dip, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll get back to Patrick here in a moment. But, Chris, did you notice something about my face? I shaved before the show tonight.
You look very smooth.
I hate shaving.
Doesn't he, Heather?
Yeah.
I hate shaving, but, I'll do it once or twice a week. And I've been using a Harry's razor recently. And, it's pretty good razor, and it's actually a good value. These things come in at about $2 a blade, and it's one of the multi-blade razors, so it's not just a single blade. So when I say $2 a blade, it's $2 for each little blade head that has 3 razors
Very
on
interesting.
it. Does that make sense?
We could do the math and come up with the cost per blade, and it would be very low. That's what you're saying?
Right, so
okay.
the actual shaving thing that has multiple blades, it's about $2 per head compared to, say a Mach 3 that, comes in somewhere around $4 or $5 a head. And the Harry's, actually specifically the Harry's Shave Kit, comes with 5 precision engineered blades with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel, a travel blade cover, and a weighted ergonomic handle. Harry's is so confident in the quality of their blades that they want you to try their shave set for free. You heard that right. Just covers shipping when you sign up. Plus, as a special offer for listeners of Free Talk Live, go to harrys.com right now. Enter code FTL at checkout. That's FTL as in Free Talk Live. And they will give you a post-shave balm absolutely free. That's balm, B-A-L-M, not bomb as in something that goes boom. harrys.com, code FTL. Let's go back to the phones where we've got Patrick in Arizona. And Patrick is a police officer in Arizona. Called in a couple days ago about a story where he had pulled somebody over in, at the time you said truck, and technically, it is a truck, but tonight you clarified that it was a semi. When you made the call a couple nights ago, I'm thinking, like a pickup truck with like a 6-foot bed and maybe a tarp over something in the back.
We're talking tractor trailer.
Tractor trailer.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
Just trying to let you know what I was thinking and probably what Ian was thinking as well. And you pulled the guy over because he had a light out, and he said, "Oh yeah, there's a loose wire. Just need a screwdriver. I can tighten that up." And you heard a baby cry.
Yeah, we heard the baby cry, and the guy started acting all squirrely on us. I looked over
right,
at my
because he
partner,
probably was.
and
He was probably thinking, "I'm either getting arrested or about to get shot."
Well, no, not really. I mean, the fact is my partner. I mean, they caught we were acting pretty calm. We were just trying to help the guy out, because we heard the baby cry. So to get back to it, we had him pop the back, and we found the people. They were all in there, and some of the people were in really bad shape. We kept we keep a case of bottled water in there.
Okay.
So we made sure that we got water to all the people, and then the people were all speaking Spanish, and none of my partner and I couldn't speak Spanish, so we had to call for backup with somebody who could speak Spanish, because even though the truck driver could speak Spanish, at that point his ID didn't match up.
Right.
It got really crazy then, so then I called in the highway patrol, which came out, and they were talking, and the next thing you know, ICE was out there, immigration services were out there, because one of the persons, I guess, had said that they were coming from Mexico, so they called them out, and at this point, I'm just thinking, God, I got a lot of paperwork tonight to do, and which I did, and we were about, we were going to issue a ticket to the driver initially after that, but then the highway patrol stepped in with ICE, and they told us that being that it was somewhat it was near a freeway, they have jurisdiction. The sheriff department stepped in, and the next thing you know, they had to bring out a it looked like a Ford van, one of those vans that they transport people.
Paddy wagons.
And to be honest with you, it was worrisome. I mean, luckily in the back, because in the back they have us keep certain things now. Like occasionally we'll get from the Christmas runs teddy bears, things like that. Luckily, we had a couple blankets back there we were able to give them, and we try to do our job as humanly as possible, and the thing is the guy he ended up being somebody else other than what his driver's license was. I had to go to court on that, but, you run across.
I can see your concerns, though. Because even though I do think there needs to be immigration reform and stuff myself, it's so sad to me that people, that want to come to this country and work and stuff, they should have that opportunity. But I do see what you mean in the sense that human trafficking and child trafficking is such a huge thing that it's when you get into those situations, it's I guess it's just making sure that the people in the truck, really their well-being, and if some of them, like you said, were in bad condition, it's regardless of what your job is, it's nice to see that you cared enough at least to give them
here's the thing. If there weren't prohibitions on people coming into the country, then people would not see the need to climb into the back of a 25
but not
or 50
everybody
foot
does,
18
though.
wheeler.
There's also people that are forced against their will into the back of trucks like that are trafficked all over the country.
Yeah.
So can't.
I got one for you. That just recently happened out here, and it was on the news. We got a Amber Alert for a potential runaway. And I can't get into too much details in the vicinity of the areas because it'll give up where I work. But she was a runaway in California. She was 14 years old, and she was picked up by two people that were actually, when they were pulled over by the police. Now, this is a good thing that happened. I mean,
right.
Pulled over by the police in Arizona, and they were able to catch them. These people were actually selling her to sex slaves.
Well,
they were actually charged.
And I applaud you.
And I mean, they were able to save the girl.
I applaud you guys for catching the people in the act and getting the girl back. That's what police need to do. But where I will disagree.
Dumb stuff.
Yeah,
dumb stuff, guys.
Exactly.
I mean,
wouldn't it be?
You get a call.
Wouldn't it be completely different if on this side of the border from Mexico there was a big, huge parking lot and it said Welcome Center, and as people who wanted to come to the United States, they would have to go through one of these, otherwise they're going to get picked up and thrown back over the fence or whatever. But if you just come to a Welcome Center and say, what are you here for? I'm here to work in agriculture. Well, I'm looking at the numbers here, and we still do need people to do that, and go over to that table and fill out a form.
They did that years ago.
Right. But where did all that go?
The fact is,
that all became bureaucratic work and fill out a bunch of papers and pay us a bunch of money. Patrick, thanks for the call.
You know what I mean?
I used to work with a guy from Malawi.
The government took over is what
I used to work with a guy from Malawi. He had been in the country for about a decade at the time, had spent $15,000 on legal fees and various filings of documents, and still had a couple years to go before he actually wound up becoming a U.S. citizen.
I don't doubt it. My real gripe with this whole thing is number one, these two issues, let's say it's terrorism and illegal immigration, quit making them one thing, number one. You want to stop terrorists, then stop terrorists. And if you want to screen people coming in, okay, we'll screen people coming in. But we still have a need for human capital. I hate to break it to people, but your average American does not want to go sling 20-pound watermelons into the back of a truck bed all day long.
Right. There was a situation in Georgia a couple years ago after Georgia passed some, onerous immigration thing to where every time you quote unquote do business with the state, you have to prove your legal citizenship or your legal status.
Right.
So a bunch of immigrants left.
Look, I'm out of here.
Vegetables were dying on the vine, so the prisons got involved and said, we'll have people work in the fields. And the next day, people said, yeah, throw me in solitary. I'm not going back. This is Free Talk Live, Hour 2, coming up next, 8:55, 450 free.
Do you need a website for your blog or new business? It can be pretty intimidating on your own, and that's why Free Talk Live has partnered with HostGator, one of the top hosting companies. HostGator offers a simple one-click, easy installation for WordPress, 24/7 over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive, user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation back into your hands. Go to HostGator.com/FTL and you'll get 50% off of their regular hosting prices. 50% off. HostGator.com/FTL.
A funny thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Modern advertisers have been trained to look for trackability in their advertising, and web search ads are great for that. They also help you get the consumer that's looking for products like yours in the moment. But they're expensive, and they do nothing to convince people to try your product segment in the first place. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. If you can use national exposure, Free Talk Live's on more than 150 stations, and we can help advertisers with little budgets and big ones. Send me an email, mark@freetalklive.com. It's mark@freetalklive.com. For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 26th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.79 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,188 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.9 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $912. Antiwar.com reports Turkey has long sought an internationally imposed series of safe zones in northern Syria to house refugees as a way to limit the number of refugees who actually end up crossing into Turkey. The White House resisted, fearing it would be too complicated, and President Trump's intention to shift Syria policy towards fighting the Islamic State made it seem like the idea was very unlikely. Instead, President Trump made a surprising move, ordering the State Department and Pentagon to prepare for the establishment of safe zones in Syria, giving them 90 days to provide a full blueprint for how they would go about it. Arguments over the theoretical viability of such safe zones centered on the question of airspace control, with Turkey arguing the zones would be meaningless without a no-fly zone, and Pentagon officials warning at the time that that would mean war with both Syria and Russia. Trump has made it clear he does not want to go to war with Russia, though so far it's unclear how this will work with the safe zones order. Another complicating factor is that Turkey has conquered a significant chunk of northern Syria in the past months, and presumably will be loath to demilitarize part of its territory if the U.S. stops short of the no-fly zone declaration. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports Greenpeace demonstrators in downtown Washington, D.C. climbed a construction crane several blocks from the White House on Wednesday morning and displayed a sign reading, "Resist." Akina Brown, spokeswoman for the Metropolitan Police Department, said 7 people climbed the crane at a construction area in the vicinity of 15th and L Streets, the site of the old Washington Post building in northwestern Washington. The protesters tethered themselves to the horizontal arm of the crane after climbing 270 feet up before unfurling a 70-foot by 35-foot banner featuring the word "Resist." A statement released after the climb by Greenpeace, the environmental activist group, said the protest is a call for those who want to resist President Donald Trump's attacks on environmental, social, economic, and educational justice to contribute to a better America. The protest Wednesday came the day after Trump signed executive measures that would make it possible to complete the Dakota Access Pipeline and restart the process for the construction of the Keystone XL oil pipeline from Canada. Each project has been the source of contention on environmental grounds and have spurred numerous demonstrations. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the election of Republican businessman Donald Trump as president of the United States has some Californians dreaming of their own country. 1 in 3 California residents supports the most populous U.S. state's peaceful withdrawal from the Union, according to a new Reuters Ipsos opinion poll. Many of those in support are Democrats strongly opposed to Trump's ascension to the country's highest office. The 32% support rate is sharply higher than the last time the poll asked Californians about secession in 2014, when 1 in 5 or 20% favored ordered it around the time Scotland held its independence referendum and voted to remain part of the United Kingdom. California also surpassed the national average favoring secession, which stands at 22%, down from 24% in 2014. The poll surveyed 500 Californians among more than 14,000 adults nationwide from December 6th to January 19th. While interest has remained about the same nationwide, it has also found more favoring California, and the concept has earned a catchy nickname, CalExit. The campaign to remove California from the United States is called Yes California and dubbed CalExit by pundits, comparing the effort to Brexit. On Friday, activists from Yes California waved signs saying California out of the United States and U.S. out of California at an anti-Trump protest in Los Angeles and San Francisco. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Overburdened with material comforts, America's wealthy can expect another disappointing holiday this year. As Brian Scott tells us, the rich will simply be buying too many things to experience the true meaning of Christmas.
All across the country, those at the top of the economic ladder are denied a privilege that the poorest of the poor take for granted. Rather than fall victim to the rampant consumerism that seems to increase each year, the poor find meaningful joy in simple Christmas traditions, like singing carols to keep warm and hugging relatives who have not yet died. At stores like these, the spiritually bereft must scramble for popular holiday toys in a vain attempt to duplicate the Christmastime happiness that the impoverished enjoy.
Poor people are grateful for just a roof over their heads or something to eat. My wife and I are both lawyers, so that's not enough for us. Certainly hope poor people don't take what they don't have for granted.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, hour number 2. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And we will take your calls about pretty much anything that's on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we actually begin hour 2 by going to the phones, where we've got Sarah calling in from Nuevo Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, I would really like to see a sugar tax here in New Mexico or in Albuquerque. You know, my major reason behind it is because we have like teenagers that wind up diabetic at age 16 that need insulin injections, and this diabetes has become like a national epidemic. And so I really like what Philadelphia is doing. And I would really like our New Mexico legislatures to consider this.
So I'm glad you mentioned Philadelphia, because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you were on the line when we talked about it, which means you probably didn't hear it, because we know you don't listen to the show except for when you are on hold or on. And what happened in Philadelphia, they wound up passing, what was it, a 1.5 cent per ounce?
Per ounce.
So the 20-ounce beverages wound up going up in price by 30 cents. The 2 liters went up in price by somewhere close to $1. And so what the retailers are doing is they're increasing the cost to cover the tax. And the mayor of Philadelphia is accusing them of price gouging by covering the tax.
To put it into perspective, on a $57 container of soda syrup, what you when you go get a big gulp, it's mixed with syrup and carbonated water.
Yep.
On a $57 container of syrup, the
$60.
tax,
It was a $60 container.
$60.
$57.60 worth of tax.
Right. So
you know what we need more of is we need more of people actually educating young kids as to what's going to happen to them years down the road if you keep eating all this sugary food and all this sugary stuff. You know, so maybe you could start up a nonprofit that's going to go around having someone speak at schools and, you know, informing them of, hey, do you really want to be, you know, setting yourself up to having to inject yourself with insulin, you know, 2 or 3 times a day sometimes, you know? So I don't necessarily think a sugar tax is going to stop that.
Well, it's a part of it. I really do feel that it does help sugar. If you're a kid and you only have very small allowance, you don't have that much money, and now the sugary pop and candies like Mounds and Skittles are a little bit more money.
But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. When we
You can buy a banana for 99 cents. at
we've tried,
and bananas have sugar in them, so therefore bananas are absolutely horrible because there's sugar in a banana.
Right. It does miss the point completely. And the thing is we try to modify people's behavior through making things more expensive. Sometimes you have a limited effect. Would you say that we have evidently nobody smokes anymore? Is that correct, Sarah?
Well, I mean,
nobody smokes?
That's a good point. Well, there's people that are smoking, yes.
Yeah,
there's
I'm one of
less
them.
People smoking.
But the
Right.
taxes on those are ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, like a chimney.
What is it, New York State?
Well, don't say it like, oh, God.
Well, no, I
It's happened
quit
to
like
be-
a year and a half ago. So,
You want a cigarette? I bring extras.
so I can judge. I earned my right to judge.
You're a quitter then.
Yeah, I am a quitter.
Nobody
Proud.
likes a quitter.
Yeah, I'm a quitter.
All
so,
right.
well, what is it? In New York State, the tax on a pack of cigarettes is as much as a pack of cigarettes cost in New Hampshire?
Oh, at least. Yeah. It's so you can make. But
You know what that is, Sarah? That's discrimination. It's discriminating on a consumer.
So let me ask this question, Sarah. Let me ask this question. How high do you think the tax should be on all the things that you don't like?
let's use an example. Let's say a bottle of soda costs $1.89. How much should a
Well,
dollar?
you know what? I don't really know, but I just want to say that I used to eat Lucky Charms because I watched it in a commercial, and me being like a
And you
10-year-old
stopped
or
eating it
whatever-
because the tax went up.
No. They're
No,
magically
no,
delicious.
the
They
thing
stopped
is,
putting prizes in the box.
No, but all of us ate Lucky Charms, but all the artificial colors and marshmallows.
Yep.
The kid doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
You watch it in a commercial, and something, and it's poison and it kills you, but you learn after
the kid doesn't buy
It
it.
doesn't really poison and kill you. I think in life, like we're all on that timeline where we're gonna die eventually anyway. So what we do is we want to prolong our life, but the inevitable is the inevitable, and a little bit of anything is okay.
But what you're
in
forgetting
moderation.
is how far our average lifespan has plummeted in the 40 or 50 years since we've introduced all these sugary cereals and all these.
No,
no.
actually,
The lifespan keeps increasing.
The whole point is that these advertisers are targeting children to entice them that they don't know any better with all these commercials and all that, and they wind up becoming diabetic.
Sarah.
Exactly. We need more educational campaigns.
Sarah, instead of advocating for a tax like you're doing, why not just advocate for making Fruit Loops and Lucky Charms illegal, and then nobody will use them the same way nobody smokes weed or uses heroin?
Or cigarettes.
Well, cigarettes aren't illegal.
Or you could just pay for a commercial that tells the truth about these products and encourages healthier alternatives.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
and then they target children. That's what's really upsetting about it. It's not like they're targeting sugary drinks at adults.
Sarah,
actually, there are sugary drinks that are targeted at adults. They're called Rockstar Energy Drinks, 5-Hour Energy, and
Red Bull.
Frappy Mocha Latte Chinos. Sarah, thank you for the call.
I wanted to just say, I
wanted to ask her if she went to the Women's March.
I know, and that was such a great thing, but she didn't really give us an opportunity. I really hope that she begins to take a positive look instead of the negative look. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Your
all the-
suggestions were dead on. How about getting out there? How about education?
Be
How
the
about
change.
Yeah, be the change instead of trying to, use the heavy hand of government to modify people's behaviors, because it does not work.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to see a little more positive reinforcement, like these taxes and stuff. It's all ways that we punish people for doing things we don't like, but how much do we reward people for doing good things? And I think we need to start seeing a little more of that.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the Women's March, there are some poll numbers, because we were going over a poll earlier that Public Policy Polling did, and they asked the respondents, what do you think had a bigger crowd over the weekend, the Women's March in D.C. or Donald Trump's inauguration? 54% said that they believed that more people turned out for the Women's March. 29% said that they thought that Donald Trump had more attendees to his inauguration. Now, this seems to be something that, you don't need an opinion poll to figure out
Just
where
count.
was the larger crowd. Just count
I think
the people.
I think it's funny. Well, it's funny because for all I know, the pictures that they're showing of the crowds could have been for like when the Patriots were last at the White House for their Super Bowl win.
Right.
Like I don't know, so I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh that crowd was definitely Donald and that one was definitely Obama, because I really don't know. So, and for me, it's so insignificant and trivial, regardless of how many people were in that crowd. Why are we arguing about this when there's so many things we could be talking about?
Such as whether or not George Soros paid the women to go march, as 17% of respondents believe. 62% said that they do not believe that Soros was paying the women, and 20% said, I don't know. And that's really the only answer that you could get. That's the only informed answer.
Well,
is I don't know.
The Soros is, I'm trying to remember the woman's name and it escapes me, but she is the original organizer of the march. I mean, that's been fairly
You thinking
widely.
Gloria Steinem?
No.
She's a celebrity?
No. She's a Muslim woman, and she has some affiliation with George Soros through her organization. And she was the original organizer of the march, but other groups have glommed onto it too. It ended up being in like every major city in the U.S. as far as.
And that's the other thing, though, is that there were so many groups there that you have all these media spinning it off and trying to say what the protest was exactly about.
Oh, yeah.
But I think there were so many people there for so many different reasons, and it's all being painted as this anti-Trump protest.
Kind of Occupy.
Yeah.
And let's talk about this. And your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-959-5928. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-959-5928. That's 1-800-959-5928. 1-800-959-5928.
Do you trust the economy? How about our banking system? Our president states that we're sitting on a bubble right now, and when the Fed raises interest rates, bad things are going to happen. Well, the Fed is outlining rate hikes here and now. There's never been a better time to turn your IRA into physical gold with GSI Exchange. 800-261-5570. That's 800-261-5570. GSI Exchange can make this happen fast, and it's money you control, not the big banks. 800-261-5570. Ask about our Gold and Silver Investors Guide and learn how your qualified IRA transfers can get you $1,500 in free physical gold or silver delivered right to your home. GSI Exchange has an A+ rating on the Better Business Bureau, too. Get the security for your money now. Call GSI Exchange at 800-261-5570. 800-261-5570. That's 800-261-5570.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're going to get into a discussion here about the Women's March. And I'm not going to say that they were marching because they didn't have a good night's sleep, but you never know. And, you know, well, you don't. You know, people march for lots of reasons. Some people might be marching because they didn't sleep well. And, well, they could try MyPillow for 60 days risk-free. Well, they can't come take the one that I use, but that's the name of it, MyPillow. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body, hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using it for close to a year. Chris has been using one for several years.
Couple years.
And it's, you know, the best pillow that I've ever used. And it's not like a, you know, quote-unquote regular pillow, because you can throw this thing in the washer, throw it in the dryer, and then actually still use it as a pillow again. It doesn't just become like a lump of something that's not a pillow anymore.
A whole lot of dryer lint.
Go to MyPillow.com. Use code FTL to get your very own MyPillow at half price. Or you can get a second pillow free of charge. Remember, if you don't like it in the first 60 days, you can get your money back. And the pillow itself is guaranteed to last 10 years. That's MyPillow.com but code FTL. MyPillow.com, code FTL.
Hi, Daryl.
Hi, Daryl. The Women's March.
Oh, okay,
you wanted to discuss.
You just pointed at me, and I didn't know why.
That's
Because
consummate
I'm a woman.
professionalism here.
Because I'm a woman, and we're about to talk about the Women's March.
Well, who else is going to talk about it? Come
you're
on.
the one that brought, you wanted to bring this
No,
up.
like I brought it up
to
'cause
give
like,
a woman's perspective.
My perspective is I have no idea why any of them marched.
I could see if they weren't
the whole
happy with Trump
equal
as president.
Well, like I heard a lot of like the whole equal rights thing, and a lot of the signs that I'd seen in some of the pictures had, you know, like equal rights, and some woman had a sign like, "This is 2017. I shouldn't still have to be fighting for this." And my thought was like, did we not just have a woman run for the highest seat in the entire country and almost win?
Yeah. Well, I will
how
say,
much more equal could we be?
I will say the funniest sign that I've seen was the one that said, hopefully one day my uterus has as many rights as a gun.
Oh, I saw that.
And then people leave the things of, oh, so you want to be banned from a polling place on election day. You don't want to be able to be carry your uterus into a school. You want to have to check it as separate luggage when you fly on an airplane. You want to have to get a permit to carry your uterus concealed in most states.
Well, I think another thing that I saw was like the equal pay issue, which for me, I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm not a supporter of equal pay. If I can do a job better than a man, I want more money. It's
right,
that simple.
and
not more. Not
most
equal.
of the people that tout the whole thing of, you know, women only make 78 cents for every dollar that a man makes, they don't look at, the actual breakdown of numbers to where there are certain fields that are dominated predominantly by men. There are certain fields dominated predominantly by women. And when they average out a woman makes X for what a man makes, they don't look job by job, category by category. Here's all of the money made by all of the women last year, and here's all of the money made by all of the men last year.
Yeah.
And then you divide, and, well, there's a lot more male professional athletes.
Right.
And then secondarily, on average, women take more sick days because they're the ones that tend to wind up taking the children.
Leave.
Well, that's additional.
Right.
So more sick days because the woman is more likely to take a day off to take the child to the doctor when the kids get sick.
Well, it's not only that, but women have more parts.
Yes.
Which is a medical fact. I mean, they have more things that can go wrong. So it's not a good, bad, or anything. It's just, it is what it is.
And then you add in maternity leave.
Yeah, but don't forget, we also outlive you guys. So.
Yeah.
Keep hating.
Exactly.
That's because we get nagged to death. I'm joking. Hashtag this is why Daryl's single.
I think my favorite meme was this one. Make them pay for razors if we pay for tampons.
Now, I saw somebody share that, and the question that was asked was, is there, because I know that in some states there's a special tax on tampons because they consider it a luxury item. Now, Illinois just repealed their luxury item tax on tampons. But is there a tax on razors? So, like in states with sales tax, and luckily we don't live in one of those.
There's nothing about tax in this on this sign in this March. I just want to know, number one, where my government-provided razors are. And if they're Harry's razors, that'd be even better. But this was the absurdity, and I saw this stuff over and over. First of all, I'm very happy that it appears that the left has once again embraced protest, because for a long time they were shouting down the right anytime they stood up against anything, any Obama program.
What was the thing that I heard for nearly 8 years? Speaking out against the president is treason?
Yeah, it's unpatriotic. It's treasonous.
Were there not like women too that were in this parade with like uterus hats?
Oh yeah. The correct. I think we can describe it as what they describe. It's called a pussy hat.
Let's just call it vagina hat.
No, like the kitty.
Okay,
hat, whatever.
Just to be safe, because that is one of the words that it's very iffy. And you did mention, Chris. You did mention the free Harry's razors. You can actually just pay shipping. Go to harrys.com, enter code FTL. So it's not completely free, and it's definitely not government subsidized.
Yeah, no government bureaucracy required if you just go to harrys.com.
But
put it offer code FTL.
Yeah, the whole make them pay for razors. What? Like some of these things, you have to wonder if people actually think thoroughly through what they're saying.
No, they don't, and we know that about a lot of people. But I do applaud them for, you feel something about something, then fine. If you want to make a difference, maybe going out and getting in the streets and doing some peaceful protests, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe sometimes civil disobedience is called for to bring or boycott. Even I just kind of. I kind of like to see people get up off their butts if they're really concerned about something, and anymore, quit being keyboard warriors and go out there and actually do something.
Right.
So
And
I don't have to agree with your message to support what you're, the fact that you're doing something.
And I'm a huge fan of the trolley problem memes. Not sure if you are familiar with these, but the claim, the trolley problem is. There's the person on track A and X number of people on track B, and you pull a lever and blah, blah, blah. And, well, I don't have time to finish this analogy, but this is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. Your calls and thoughts, whether it be on trolleys, trolley problems or the Women's March or anything else.
Have you ever wanted a shortcut to getting the underground secrets to making money online and seriously grow your business? Whether it's a new business, a part-time income, or an existing business, you have this incredible limited offer to get a copy of this Amazon best-selling book on .com success for free. Uncover the success factors to make your business ignite. Go to secretsignite.com. That's secretsignite.com. Get your free copy now. Go to secretsignite.com.
We use cell phones against our heads every day. But now, a landmark U.S. government study confirms increased health risks from exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The time to protect yourself is now. The solution is Defender Shield. Proudly made in the USA, Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation emitted from cell phones, tablets, and laptops. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. Use discount code DEFENDER for 10% off. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in EMF radiation protection.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about the Women's March. And, I think basically, the conclusion is there were a lot of different people marching for a lot of different reasons, and there was not a single unifying message other than we're women and we're not happy with things.
I think there was a strong if there was a unifying theme, I think it was anti-Trump. And they were very careful to couch that and said, this is not about President Trump, this is about women's issues. But then I saw a number of stories that pulled like somebody involved in the organization, and they're like, well, yeah, we're saying it's not about Trump, but it's about Trump. Of course it is. It's a day after the inauguration.
Yeah.
So,
But I think a lot of it, too, is more or less like isolated issues. Like some people wanting, like, rights, being like pro-choice. A lot of the signs I noticed in pictures, were about, having rights for their bodies and, making sure that he as president doesn't take away their right and stuff like that. So maybe it might not so much be him on all fronts as it is issues that were important to particular women.
Or in that case, Supreme Court picks.
That are some women where they're toting the equal pay stuff. And, so it's kind of like there's a number of different issues that seem to be getting some attention. So I don't know that everybody there was necessarily anti-Trump. And,
I'll go out on a limb and say probably not everyone, but
probably
99%.
The overwhelming majority. I'm not going to say 99%, but
I'll
the
go 90.
overwhelming majority.
I'll go 90% on that.
And again, there's no way to verify this unless you go find all 2.2 million women that reportedly were involved in one of the marches somewhere around the world.
We're on radio, Daryl. If I say something, then it must be true, and this is fake news. Right?
No, we are not fake news.
Okay. I thought all media that wasn't the mainstream media was fake news.
No, well, hold on. Donald Trump called CNN fake news, and you can't get more mainstream than
so
CNN.
We're real news
I think
now.
it's funny. This is kind of a little bit off topic, but it has to do with Donald Trump, so it's not. I think it's funny that Donald Trump was supposed to be meeting with, like, the Mexican president, and they were supposed to have this meeting about the wall or something, and Donald Trump said, well, if he's not going to pay for it, we might as well not have the meeting. So I guess the Mexican president tweeted that he was no longer going to be meeting with the president. And I'm like, has it really gotten to the point where world leaders are tweeting to each other?
Yes, I think it has.
Like Donald Trump tweets back, and I'm like, it's like a tweet war between like world leaders.
If you're going to have a war between countries, I'll take a tweet war over a regular war every single day.
As long as bombs aren't dropped every time somebody uses some kind of hashtag, because that would be bad. Let's go to the phones. We've got Jay calling in from Arizona. Jay, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thought.
Chris, I'd like to continue a conversation we last had about our government wanting to affect change in other countries.
Sure.
And sometimes it's for the good, and very rarely is it for the bad. And I should like to say it's about a subject that the very first thing somebody ever said to me that's a so-called minister and Free Talk Live co-host, what, have you ever heard of blowback?
Okay.
And he goes on a very long rant and dumps my call and doesn't let me answer the question. But we haven't had but two short conversations on blowback.
Mm-hmm.
And it's astonishing to me that it never strikes you or any of the other people that you think and agree with about blowback that every one of the countries you ever mention has something in common that blowback occurs from. They're all east of Israel. And it's funny, you keep on mentioning this 1952 usurpation of a sovereign country's democracy by
it's a good example.
You brought it up. You talked about Iran in 1952.
Sure.
Do you know at the same time as that happened, and it affected change for the good in Iran for about 30 years, but then it blew up in its face and we did nothing about the Shah. But I digress. My point is, in 1952, the United States of America had like 1 million troops in Korea, and my dad was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And 33,000 of them didn't come back. And God rest their souls, they did the right thing. And because of that, we never talk of South Korea being ruled by a gangster megalomaniac and his family that are ruling North Korea, unfortunately, because that million soldiers of the United Nations, most of them being American, weren't anywhere near enough, because every time it didn't matter how many Chinese came at the Americans and how well the Americans did to push them back. They just kept on coming in hordes.
Okay.
And
let me
China negatively.
We're going to get limited a little bit here on time, James, but here's
I can hold over in the break, Chris,
Oh, that's okay.
And I should like to appeal to your deepest integrity.
Here is my thought.
Because I think you do. Let me respond to your thoughts.
Sure.
Don't let it be you have the first and the last word, so I can't. I have to call in 2 weeks later to respond to some thoughts you made.
You've already had the first word. Okay, so my premise is this: I'm not one who is going to argue absolutes. You say that blowback never occurs and that U.S. foreign policy.
That.
Well, that's okay. Then maybe we are indeed in agreement and we can settle this. I'm saying that sometimes our foreign policy gets us into trouble. When it comes back and bites us at a later time, that is blowback, or at least that's what I think of as blowback. If you agree that sometimes happens, then we don't really have an issue at all.
No, because you're not agreeing with me at all.
Now, I have a little input to add here.
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
James and I never get a chance to talk. Go ahead.
Oh, hold on.
Go ahead,
because
James.
Again, blowback, every time you cite an issue of blowback, it actually has to do with a certain insane pathology and theocracy that every single one of the people, and by the way, anybody in your studio that broadcasts from your studio that has to mention Osama bin Laden's name, which I have heard frequently as to bolster your case, is as sick as mentioning Adolf Hitler's name in trying to argue your case. My point is, what Osama bin Laden and friends had in common with is they all believe that they're commanded by Allah to murder infidels.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how many and who they take out. Because, by the way, what did the regime of the Taliban harboring Osama bin Laden and friends?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
What did blowback have to do with them blowing up 3,000-year-old Buddhist statues that were the height of the tallest structures in the world at the time?
Okay, let me jump in here, James, because you're kind of dominating the conversation, and I just want to at least ask one question.
Me.
That's okay. Would you not agree that we have held a significant presence in Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East over the last 40, 50 years? Do you think that rubs some people in the Middle East the wrong way? And what I get to is we're 3,000, 5,000 miles away from the Islamic world, yet we are like the primary target. Do you think that and we have a very tight relationship with Israel. Do you think any of those? Do you think anything that we're doing there might cause us to rise to the top of the target list?
Certainly, in the mind's eye, again, of people that actually believe that Allah is God, Muhammad is his messenger, and death to the infidels. Because I don't see many Saudis. The 17 guys that were on those planes that were Saudis. Saudi Arabia does have a population of somewhere well over 100 million. And fortunately, not all of them think like that. Not anywhere near the majority, but the super minority that do want to murder us, and you call it blowback, I call it murder. And
isn't Saudi Arabia one of the most radically Islamic countries?
Oh, very much so. Yeah,
I know for a fact when my dad went to Saudi Arabia, in the military, there was a $1 million bounty out to shoot down American planes coming into the country, and this was back in the 90s.
So you think I'm with that or against that, Heather?
Well, I mean, when there's a bounty out to shoot us going into those countries, it's pretty obvious we're not welcome.
Thank you for the call. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450 free.
Have you ever thought you'd like to flip houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? Are you ready to be your own boss so you can start living the good life? Hi, I'm Preston Neely. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity turned off 9 times, but I figured out a way to quit my job and find financial freedom in real estate. For a limited time, I want to send you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It shows you how to copy exactly what I did so you can make money from the comfort of your own home without even doing any manual labor. I've already given away 5,000 books and they're going fast. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-3494. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. It's short, fun to read, easy to understand, and awesome. To find out how to get your free book while supplies last, call 1-800-960-3494. Call 1-800-960-3494. 1-800-960-3494.
Good day, America. Are you tired of your butt cheeks being frozen? Tired of cold hands or cold feet? I'm tired of the cold. Well, there's a new kid on the block. It's Fortress Clothing. Fortress will keep you warm. Fortress does what no other clothing company has ever done. We keep you warm in the cold, even when wet. You heard that right, even when wet. No BS, no gimmicks. Work, play, sweat in the cold, and stay warm. So quit your complaining and go to fortressclothing.com. Fortressclothing.com, enter coupon code AMERICA and get 20% off any item. Mittens, jackets, pants, balaclavas, or hot socks. Fortressclothing.com, enter coupon code AMERICA. You're going to love being warm all winter long. Fortressclothing.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST, hosting.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $10 lower at $1,190 per ounce. Silver is 12 cents lower at $16.92 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $912 US. Metals continue lower this morning, likely reacting to the Dow rising above 20,000 for the first time. To take advantage and buy on this dip, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Have you ever wanted to start your own blog or website, but you've not been able to put your idea into action? Well, you're in luck. HostGator is one of the top hosting companies out there, and they have a special offer for Free Talk Live listeners. Go to HostGator.com/FTL, and you can get up to 50% off their regular prices. Hosting your own website or blog can be intimidating, but HostGator makes it easy with one-click easy installations for WordPress. They also have 24-hour a day, 7-day per week over the phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into the hands of you, the customer. HostGator also has 99.99% uptime rating, and that's not HostGator making the claim. That's the hosting review companies that are making that claim on behalf of HostGator. So with that 99.99% uptime rating, you don't have to worry about outages. To get the special offer of up to 50% off for Free Talk Live listeners, go to HostGator.com/FTL. We started off the show talking about some polling numbers. And Chris, you've got some that actually come from a completely different polling company. Public Policy Polling was the source of the numbers that I shared, that Congress has actually increased their approval rating by about 50% over what it was a couple years ago, to where now a whopping 15% of Americans have a positive approval rating of Congress, whereas just a couple years ago it was hovering around 9%. And there were also numbers about Trump's approval rating, where he still has a negative approval rating. And he's projected to be the worst president since Richard Nixon, or at least the most unpopular since Nixon.
I think
you've got new numbers.
Well, first of all, I do think you can absolutely tell by any president's first 7 days in office exactly how it's going to turn out.
Well, and again, these numbers, because he got sworn in on Friday of last week, the poll happened on the 23rd and 24th, so it was the third and fourth days.
Oh yeah,
that he was in office.
Plenty of time to judge a presidency.
There were also questions about whether or not he should be impeached. And my question is, for what?
Years.
He's not been in office long enough to really do anything.
I disagree.
Impeachable.
I think probably most presidents, by the time they hit day 2 or 3, they probably committed some impeachable offense. That's not anti-Trump. That's anti all of them.
I don't think Americans can organize efficiently enough to actually impeach a president. It's just all these massive organizations are so unorganized. They never accomplish anything. It's just like a big, show up in force, let people know you're here, and then go away, and nothing gets done.
I know, and sadly, from a constitutional point of view, impeachment is like my favorite power that's in there. And it's not just presidents that can be impeached.
It's everybody.
Everybody can be impeached. And I just
Judges.
think they should just have a month-long impeachment party in Congress and just
impeach
everybody. At least drain. You want to talk about how you drain the swamp? Impeach them. Get them out. All right. So
but then the problem is somebody, equally as bad that's just not been there before winds up taking over.
But maybe it takes them a year or two to figure out the job, so you get a year or two of a little bit of a break.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
Would be nice.
Maybe. All right. This comes to us from WAPO, the Washington Post. Obama.
Is that more fake news, or is that alternative fact news?
Alternative fact? I don't know.
I guess it depends on who you ask.
Judge for yourself. And
and apparently, that was something that was said by the new press secretary of, oh no, I didn't make up a lie. I gave you alternative facts.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, anyway. So what's the story about?
The story is titled, Obama draws neck and neck with Reagan in poll of greatest modern president.
Did you say Reagan?
Reagan.
Ronnie Reagan.
Ronnie. Obama.
Mr. Reagan, the guy that stood there and said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Did you guys go to school with Reagan?
More old jokes from the youngster in the room. That's
he
great.
was the president when I was in elementary school.
Yeah, I may have voted for him. All right. 2 years ago, Barack Obama was a
in
damaged
the 1976 primary.
Jeez, come on,
or when
Darryl.
he ran for governor of California.
Oh, man. Folks, I am not that old. Yeah, it depends on your viewpoint, I guess. All right, 2 years ago, Barack Obama was a damaged goods, lame duck president who had just endured his second consecutive midterm drubbing, thanks in large part to Republican efforts to tie Democrats to him and his eponymous health care law. Today, Obama is virtually tied for first place in a new poll of the greatest modern American president.
How do they define modern American president?
I think we're going to get into that, but we'll look at the polling. The Quinnipiac University poll indicates 29% say Obama is the greatest president since World War II. So I think that this cutoff is World War II.
Okay.
Just shy of the 30% who cite Ronald Reagan, the long-standing title holder. That's a vast improvement for Obama.
I always thought that the guy that had polio, FDR, was the greatest modern American president.
Well, he would have been before if you're going back to World War II, see what I'm saying? He was president for most of World War II, but then he died, and then Truman finished it up. So he couldn't technically be called a modern American president by this standard.
Well, it depends on if they're talking about the beginning of World War II or the end, because it just says since World War II. So that's kind of ambiguous.
Okay. You can cast your vote for FDR if you like.
No, I don't want to. I'm just saying, like the lies that we were told in school, the alternative facts that we were told in school is that FDR was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
We wouldn't have sliced bread without FDR.
Because, FDR got us out of the Depression.
He did everything for us. He gave us great dams and great public works and all sorts of things, and he kept us in depression throughout most of World War II.
His granddaddy gave us teddy bears, so therefore he gets credit for that because, as the kids would say, because reasons.
Right.
Can we start talking about presidents I was alive for?
Okay, so Bill Clinton and George Bush and Barack Obama and now President Trump.
Oh, boy. All right, I'm going to continue this because you guys are just silly tonight. Silly, I tell you. That's a vast improvement for Obama, who back in July 2014 was viewed as the greatest modern president by just 8%. A big reason Obama has surged is that he has now gobbled up a bigger portion of the greatest Democratic president pie. The percentage saying the greatest modern president is Bill Clinton has dropped from 18% in 2014 to 9%. The number citing John F. Kennedy is down from 15% to 12%. Harry S. Truman and Lyndon B. Johnson dropped 2 points and 1 point respectively. But Obama also seems to have gobbled up some of the GOP's pie. Reagan dropped from 35% in 2014 to 30% today. And the GOP's share of the overall greatest modern president piece has dropped from 46% to 38%.
So what I'm hearing here is that 5% of respondents here that thought that Reagan was wonderful have decided that building walls is not such a horrible idea.
It seems like everybody's, all the previous presidents' numbers have dropped. And Obama seems to be the recipient of most of the gain. So it is what it is. Part of it is almost certainly proximity. Obama is just days removed from office, and perhaps that gives him a bump. He also perhaps helped by the fact that the last Democratic president before him left office 16 years ago, and that president's wife just suffered a pretty bad defeat, Hillary. The Clinton brand just isn't what it once was.
True, and there's actually more to this, where they ask people who their least favorite, or rather the worst modern U.S. president, and Obama is virtually tied with Richard Nixon and George W. Bush. They are separated by 1 percentage point, with Nixon coming in at 24%, Bush at 22%, Obama there sandwiched in the middle like a reverse Oreo at 23%, and I can't believe I just said that.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah, so even though he's up there as the best, he's also up there among the worst.
Right? It's insanity.
Yeah. So who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite? 855-450 free. This is Free Talk Live, and there's something weird happening with the Facebook algorithm.
Yeah, the
Heather
trending
has
topic.
that story.
Mm-hmm.
You've said it yourself. We need a healthcare system that focuses on health, not sickness. Health insurance pays for treating sickness but gives you nothing for being healthy. There's a free market healthcare company that gives you freedom from health insurance. They give you a proactive health assessment daily, no charge 24-hour access to doctors. Check them out right now at healthexcellenceselect.com. Any kind of doctor, traditional, integrative, chiropractic, acupuncture, and massage. You'll love the service and price. healthexcellenceselect.com. healthexcellenceselect.com.
A funny thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Modern advertisers have been trained to look for trackability in their advertising, and web search ads are great for that. They also help you get the consumer that's looking for products like yours in the moment. But they're expensive, and they do nothing to convince people to try your product segment in the first place. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. If you can use national exposure, Free Talk Live's on more than 150 stations, and we can help advertisers with little budgets and big ones. Send me an email, mark@freetalklive.com. It's mark@freetalklive.com.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 26th, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.79 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,188 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.9 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $912. Antiwar.com reports Turkey has long sought an internationally imposed series of safe zones in northern Syria to house refugees as a way to limit the number of refugees who actually end up crossing into Turkey. The White House resisted, fearing it would be too complicated, and President Trump's intention to shift Syria policy towards fighting the Islamic State made it seem like the idea was very unlikely. Instead, President Trump made a surprising move, ordering the State Department and Pentagon to prepare for the establishment of safe zones in Syria, giving them 90 days to provide a full blueprint for how they would go about it. Arguments over the theoretical viability of such safe zones centered on the question of airspace control, with Turkey arguing the zones would be meaningless without a no-fly zone, and Pentagon officials warning at the time that that would mean war with both Syria and Russia. Trump has made it clear he does not want to go to war with Russia, though so far it's unclear how this will work with the safe zones order. Another complicating factor is that Turkey has conquered a significant chunk of northern Syria in the past months, and presumably will be loath to demilitarize part of its territory if the U.S. stops short of the no-fly zone declaration. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports Greenpeace demonstrators in downtown Washington, D.C. climbed a construction crane several blocks from the White House on Wednesday morning and displayed a sign reading, Resist. Akina Brown, spokeswoman for the Metropolitan Police Department, said 7 people climbed the crane in a construction area in the vicinity of 15th and L Streets, the site of the old Washington Post building in northwestern Washington. The protesters tethered themselves to the horizontal arm of the crane after climbing 270 feet up before unfurling a 70-foot by 35-foot banner featuring the word Resist. A statement released after the climb by Greenpeace, the environmental activist group, said the protest is a call for those who want to resist President Donald Trump's attacks on environmental, social, economic, and educational justice to contribute to a better America. The protest Wednesday came the day after Trump signed executive measures that would make it possible to complete the Dakota Access Pipeline and restart the process for the construction of the Keystone XL oil pipeline from Canada. Each project has been the source of contention on environmental grounds and have spurred numerous demonstrations. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the election of Republican businessman Donald Trump as president of the United States has some Californians dreaming of their own country. 1 in 3 California residents supports the most populous U.S. state's peaceful withdrawal from the Union, according to a new Reuters Ipsos opinion poll. Many of those in support are Democrats strongly opposed to Trump's ascension to the country's highest office. The 32% support rate is sharply higher than the last time the poll asked Californians about secession in 2014, when 1 in 5 or 20% favored it around the time Scotland held its independence referendum and voted to remain part of the United Kingdom. California also surpassed the national average favoring secession, which stands at 22%, down from 24% in 2014. The poll surveyed 500 Californians among more than 14,000 adults nationwide from December 6th to January 19th. While interest has remained about the same nationwide, it has also found more favoring California, and the concept has earned a catchy nickname, CalExit. The campaign to remove California from the United States is called Yes California and dubbed CalExit by pundits, comparing the effort to Brexit. On Friday, activists from Yes California waved signs saying California out of the United States and U.S. out of California at an anti-Trump protest in Los Angeles and San Francisco. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The entire nation has been transfixed by the emotional saga of missing toddler Aaron Crawford. Police remain baffled by 4-year-old Aaron's mysterious disappearance. The Crawford family is finally speaking out, but it isn't easy.
We're taking it day by day, you know? We just miss our baby so much.
This must be so hard on everyone.
All he does is cry. I hate him.
Little Aaron was last seen in the bedroom he shares with his older brother, Denny. Authorities say he was abducted by an intruder in the middle of the night.
Denny was in the room when Aaron was taken.
Yeah, right here. Now it's just my room.
Denny, can you tell us what happened?
I was in my room. A man lifted up the window and came in.
Were you scared?
Yes, because I thought he's going to take my Xbox.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 3 in studio. It's Daryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And Heather, you've got a story about the Facebook algorithms. And these are things that, the algorithms are things that have had a bunch of people, all up in arms of Facebook censoring stuff and Facebook is this and that. And, well, what's this about? The trending news algorithm?
So it's how will Facebook's changes to its trending feature affect your news feed?
So the trending feature is if you go to the Facebook homepage, so facebook.com, not in one of your groups, not on your personal wall, not your friend's wall, not on a page.
Feed. This is how it affects your news feed.
Right. Well, to the right of the news feed, there is something called trending. And right now, I am seeing a story about the doomsday clock that 36,000 people are talking about. Voyager 2 that 2.7 thousand people. I don't know why they say 2.7 thousand. That just sounds really weird. But 2,700 people are talking about. Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski, almost 6,000 people are talking about, and then there's different things, so you can click on politics or science, sports, entertainment, or just the top trends. And then, of course, there's see more, and then it shows you more things.
So before we go any further, can I point out the reducing relevance of this? That so many people are now looking at this in the Facebook app as opposed to the Facebook webpage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. And then there are certain features that only work on the Facebook app and not on the Facebook webpage or even the mobile site. I don't have the Facebook app. I just go, if I'm doing Facebook on my phone, I just open up my web browser and go to m.facebook.com, and then that's the mobile page.
What were your top 5 again? Just the names, not anything.
Doomsday Clock, Voyager 2, Mike Krzyzewski were top 3.
Right.
So then when I click see more, Millie Bobby Brown, the USS Enterprise, Dwight Howard, Dan Aykroyd, March for Life, Jolene, and Mandy Moore and Shane West.
Okay. So mine are not at all that. Mine, when I go to the Facebook homepage, not the app, I get Ted Cruz, I get Mike, whatever you said his name. Krzyzewski, March for Life, Voyager 2, and Frank Center.
So
that's my top 5.
We've got a few that are the same.
Right.
So what's this change going to do?
Okay, well, let me get into the article and we'll find out. So it comes out of Menlo Park, California, and it says, Facebook is making changes to its trending feature, a news feed that shows users popular discussion topics that others are talking about. The Menlo Park-based social network promises an improved system to determine what is trending. Facebook will now display the source and headline of trending news to provide additional information to users. The headline that appears is automatically selected based on a combination of factors, including the engagement around the article on Facebook, the engagement around the publisher overall, and whether other articles are linking to it, the company said.
So this
kind of makes sense to me.
It kind of makes sense, but I'm wondering here, because I know that you can do a sponsored post to where things will pop up in more people's news feeds.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be able to sponsor your stuff at a certain level to where it becomes a trending topic?
Boy, that would be expensive. I think Facebook would love that.
I don't think that's where they were going with
No,
this.
I'm not saying you buy enough things to where you're forcing people to talk about it. I'm saying you're able to pay off the Facebook algorithm people to wind up putting your stuff as trending.
To make it trending.
I think you throw enough money at Facebook advertising or Facebook sponsored posts or I'd like to boost this post. I think if you had the financial power behind you, like some in the mainstream media may have, you could certainly begin to manipulate that.
Okay, so continuing on, it says trending topics will also be curated differently. We will now look at the number of publishers that are posting articles on Facebook about the same topic and the engagement around that group of articles. The online service explained, this should surface trending topics quicker, be more effective at capturing a broader range of news and events from around the world, and also help ensure that trending topics reflect real-world events being covered by multiple news outlets.
Okay.
I'm not seeing how this is necessarily different from how it is now, to where they're basing things off of how many people are talking about it and what you're like, even though supposedly it's supposed to be about things that I'm interested in, but I don't like anything that would make them think that I'm interested in the USS Enterprise, the March for Life, Jolene, Mandy Moore, the Doomsday Clock, or Voyager 2.
Well, here's why. Because the article says trending news will also be displayed based on a person's location, not on his or her personal interests. This is to ensure that users don't miss important news that may be popular near them.
So that is manipulating to me. I'm trying to find the website. And
the entire thing is manipulating.
Of course. But it bothers me when they couch it in these terms of openness and we're going to try to give you a more honest display, except we're going to twist it.
Right.
So I can't remember the name of the website. And Daryl, maybe you've seen this. Heather, maybe you have. But it is sort of a map-based page that shows you by keywords, sort of a word map, a word cloud, of what the top searches and stories are globally. It doesn't break it down by...
I'm not familiar with this.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get in touch with a friend of mine who sent it to me, but it is really interesting that you see globally, the bulk of the time, the top stories may be about soccer. Or
Right.
it may be about events in the Middle East that are getting a little bit of airplay here, but not nearly as much as they are around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to dig for that real quick.
Right, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't use Facebook as a news aggregation source. I use Facebook to communicate with people and waste some time and jump into groups and basically, like waste time.
I don't know. I think I use my Facebook a lot for news, especially like grassroots journalism, like you're connected with people that are doing grassroots journalism all over the country. Like we saw with things like Bundy Ranch or the, Dakota Access Pipeline and stuff, like people that are on the ground there posting about topics that now, because they're not near our geographic location, we may not,
But then there's also the people that will they'll post satire, and because it fits into what they believe, they're not posting it as haha, here's a funny article from The Onion or from some satire thing. They're like, I can't believe that blah blah blah. So they're posting fake news as if it's legitimate without actually doing any kind of fact checking. So I've stopped using Facebook to try to get news because so many people will just share fake articles without ever paying attention that it's fake.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from.
I've got
Heather.
news aggregators that I go to find out news.
Yeah, and news is something, and I use that. I use Flipboard, which is it works really well for me. It doesn't work well for anybody else I know, but that aggregates my news. I get what my friends are interested in more from Facebook, and most of my friends are in the Liberty community, so I do get that sort of the alternative media.
Yeah.
That's where I see stuff that's gonna, that I wouldn't see normally in a news aggregator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and occasionally something interesting will pop up in my news feed, but by and large, I'm reading antiwar.com on a daily basis. I go directly to UPI and Reuters. I don't go look at whatever the local newspaper is publishing. I don't go look at what a local TV station is reporting. I go and I look, all right, let's see what stories are being syndicated and what's, the actual news. And yeah, I might be missing something. But, I'm also getting just the facts, ma'am. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. The LASIK Vision Institute is now offering dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology for a fraction of what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-939-4839. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve at a fraction of what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-939-4839. 1-800-939-4839.
Do you trust the economy? How about our banking system? Our president states that we're sitting on a bubble right now, and when the Fed raises interest rates, bad things are going to happen. Well, the Fed is outlining rate hikes here and now. There's never been a better time to turn your IRA into physical gold with GSI Exchange. 800-261-5570. That's 800-261-5570. GSI Exchange can make this happen fast, and it's money you control, not the big banks. 800-261-5570. Ask about our Gold and Silver Investors Guide and learn how your qualified IRA transfers can get you $1,500 in free physical gold or silver delivered right to your home. GSI Exchange has an A+ rating on the Better Business Bureau, too. Get the security for your money now. Call GSI Exchange at 800-261-5570. 800-261-5570. That's 800-261-5570.
Hi. Have Have you heard about Bitcoin? Not Bitcoin, but Bipcoin. Bravo, India, Papa, Coin. Bipcoin is a new cryptocurrency that you can start mining today for free on ordinary computers. Unlike most altcoins, Bipcoin is not a clone of Bitcoin. Bipcoin is based on entirely new, more recent, and better code called CryptoNote. So unlike Bitcoin, Bipcoin has truly untraceable transactions, and we're working on adding distributed DNS functionality to Bipcoin. We're calling this .bip, and it will provide uncensorable domain names in an easy-to-use interface. Unlike previous systems attempting this, .bip will be simple for both a website owner and for people viewing websites. This will get it the worldwide adoption we need to keep speech free, and cyber squatting will not be a problem. Please help out with a donation or just share this with your friends. If you can't chip in some cash or Bitcoin to save free speech around the world, because there are incoming regimes that hate honest criticism. Go to bipcoin.org. Once again, that's Bravo, India, Papa, coin.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And I did something absolutely amazing last night.
Oh, God, what'd you do?
I saved 25% off of a case of turkey jerky using Bitcoin. I went to saveitpurse.com. I had a case of turkey jerky in my Amazon wish list. I imported the wish list into my Purse account, selected my discount of 25%, and now that turkey jerky is coming to me so that it can go into my belly.
And you're going to share it with everybody here.
Aww. Actually, I will not be sharing it because I don't share my turkey jerky. But the way I was able to do this is by using Bitcoin. Again, go to saveatpurse.com. And if you don't want to wait or you don't want to try getting a really big saving, you can still do 5% instant by just adding the things directly to your cart there at saveatpurse.com. And again, you have to use Bitcoin, but why not save money on things you're going to buy anyway? Saveatpurse.com. We started off talking kind of about Trump, and well, there's more Trump news, and I still cannot believe that I'm actually having to say the words President Trump in a non-joking manner.
I have no issue with it. You're always going to get a president. The president oftentimes isn't going to be somebody you support. It is what it is.
Well, it's never been somebody that I support, but
it has been for me.
Going back 30 years when, Donald Trump was just some guy on the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Oh, here's some guy that's real estate millionaire, blah, 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 this and that. And then, all of the Trump branded this, Trump that. And now, with the whole let's repeal and replace Obamacare, it's probably going to be called Trump Care and then go bankrupt in 3 years. And everybody's going to want their money back. And I
I've been
still
through this.
can't believe that the guy's in the WWE Hall of Fame, for crying out loud.
I know,
What?
and I'm
Why?
He's in the entertainment wing because he was involved in a storyline a good many years ago. He got a stunner from Stone Cold. There was a hair versus hair match where Vince McMahon and Donald Trump each had, a champion fighting on their behalf. Sort of like a trial by combat thing. The wrestler
so it's like
that
dog fighting, but with humans.
Exactly.
The wrestler that was Donald Trump's surrogate wound up winning, so Vince McMahon got his head shaved, and then afterwards Stone Cold Steve Austin gave Donald Trump a stunner.
Oh, no.
Unbelievable.
And now that guy is president of the United States.
So again, dating myself because evidently that's what I do here. But I remember when the same concerns were brought up about Reagan. I mean, we've kind of lost in history what a mind-blowing event was.
The man was an actor that became, well, at least...
You mean the guy who was in Bonzo Goes to Washington?
But at least...
Or Mr. Smith and Bonzo, chimp movies?
At least Reagan was a governor before running for president.
That is true.
At least Jesse Ventura was a mayor before running for governor.
Acknowledge, but I'm telling you, like in the late 70s and even during his presidency, it was the most common thing. And so the guy's, of course, he gives a good speech. He's an actor.
There was even the joke in Back to the Future where Marty goes back to 1955. Who's the president? Ronald Reagan. The actor?
Exactly.
Now, I did hear a joke. I think it might have been shortly after Reagan's presidency where they said, the guy was an actor and he played president for 8 years. It was his greatest role ever.
Well, like him or not, he's very popular for the right. He is kind of that one they look back on and go, the good old days. But this I thought was an interesting article, and this is coming to us from The Week.
And this is, not talking about Reagan here, but Trump. And Trump has gone off on some kind of thing where he's adamant that there was all kinds of voter fraud.
Voter fraud's real, and that we need to get to the bottom of it. We need to do things about it. And one of the things he's talked about is people that are registered to vote in 2 separate states and may vote in 2 separate states. The little byline on this article is called Pot Meet Kettle. 6 people in Trump's inner circle have committed his definition of voter fraud. President Trump is obsessed with voter fraud. He even went as far as to sign an executive order in his first week in office.
Of course it was in his first week.
Because
he's only been in office for a week. It's not even been a week. We're still, 14 hours from a week.
Some of these phrases people are using are superfluous. I will grant you that. Yes. He even went as far as to sign an executive order in his first week in office in the hopes of getting to the bottom of what he alleges is a voter fraud epidemic, despite a complete lack of evidence to support such claims. Trump might be forgiven for the confusion, though, at least considering his sample size and his somewhat skewed definition of the crime. At least 6 members of Trump's family and inner circle have been discovered to be registered to vote in more than one state.
So, just real quick, I did pull up the article that The Week links to where it mentions voter fraud epidemic. And Trump tweeted, "I will be asking for a major investigation into voter fraud, including those registered in 2 states, those who are illegal, and those who are registered to vote who are dead."
Right.
So,
and I think there's some legitimacy in some part of that, but I will say also, and Daryl, you and I were talking about this a little bit, if you move from state to state, you are probably registered to vote in 2 states.
Right, and if you...
It's not malicious, it's just what it is.
If you or a loved one has died recently, like if you've died recently, you're not listening to this unless somehow, this is going into the afterlife.
I believe we still listen to Free Talk Live after we're gone.
Here in New Hampshire,
broadcasted upstairs.
Here in New Hampshire, if you pass away and it's not somewhere near here, so nobody locally sees an obituary in a newspaper, they don't know right away that you're dead and then to remove you from the polls. So then...
It was kind of scary that Donald Trump's going to be doing an investigation into how many dead people are still registered to vote.
So then every 10 years, in the year ending in 1, so basically, the year that they do the census, the supervisors of the checklist get together and they go through and they will remove anybody who has not voted in like the previous 4 elections.
Something like that.
So it
Don't
could
they do in
take
Massachusetts?
a
They do
while.
an annual form that you have to they send out and they ask, is anybody new in this household registered to vote? And you send the consensus form back into the town halls.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah.
But here in New Hampshire, it could be well over a decade before they wind up realizing, we've got somebody on here that is either no longer living here or is dead. So the whole claim of there's dead people registered, not in and of itself voter fraud. Being registered in 2 states, not in and of itself voter fraud. There's more. Free Talk Live, 855-450, free.
Being self-reliant is about being prepared and to do what you need to have your own source of renewable energy. Portable Solar LLC offers the most powerful EMP-hardened solar system on the market that is transportable from place to place, and the best part, it's very affordable. Contact them at portablesolarllc.com or call for details at 972-575-8875. Sol Arc EMP-hardened solar generator energy insurance for your family or business. Call Portable Solar LLC today or go to portablesolarllc.com to check out their patent-pending technology.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to HealthForLiberty.com right now. That's HealthForLiberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
An amateur sailor has announced his plans to sail around the world to decrease awareness of important global issues. 29-year-old Michael Gilmer will cover approximately 28,000 nautical miles over 3 months, all the while drawing attention away from famine afflicting several African nations, revolution in the Middle East, flooding in Thailand, and economic instability across 5 continents.
The goal here is to really make people think about a young, overconfident,
sentimental on an expensive vote, rather than the pressing matters of substance that actually affect people's lives.
As Gilmer set off on his journey Thursday, something was happening in Washington. In local news, a cute 8-year-old is beginning to realize how much better she is than ugly girls.
Since I'm cute and they're not, that means that they're not as good as me.
In other news, a slaughterhouse worker is told to stop naming them all. And sure, an area man can watch your cat while his life is falling apart, no problem. You have just participated in a large-scale psychological research study. Please fill out the attached liability waiver and send it to theonion.com/newsbeat.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Donald Trump wants to get to the bottom of this voter fraud thing, where he claims that in and of itself, being registered in 2 states is voter fraud, and being dead and still on the voter rolls is voter fraud, even though, as we said, there are times where it just takes them a while to remove people if they don't wind up getting the news of, oh yeah, Daryl moved away to, somewhere and wound up dying.
Well, and going back to my experience in moving to New Hampshire from Pennsylvania, there was no checklist that was given to me of places I had to go within the state to make sure that I removed myself from this list or that list. It's just sort of left there when you move. But Trump may be forgiven for the confusion, though, at least considering his sample size and in his somewhat skewed definition of the crime. At least 6 members of Trump's family and inner circle have been discovered to be registered to vote in more than one state. Number 1, Trump's daughter, Tiffany Trump. Number 2, Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, big name in the election. Number 3, senior counsel to the president, Steve Bannon. Number 4, Trump's Treasury Secretary nominee, Steve Mnuchin. Number 5, White House Chief of Staff
Reince Priebus, who was the former chairman of the Republican Party.
Yeah, it's crazy. And number 6, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer. It's not illegal to be registered to vote in 2 states. In fact, it can even happen accidentally, and that's what we were talking about. What it becomes tricky is if people have actually voted twice, an act that can sometimes require traveling great distances between states to actually pull it off. Referring to Sean Spicer's double registration, Tom Bonnier of political data company Target Smart explained that, quote, there's no evidence he voted twice in any election. It's almost certainly because he moved, unquote. Nevertheless, Bonnier said, quote, his boss calls this fraud. And that's kind of...
Many states don't ask for ID, though, so you wouldn't actually have to travel if you had
Right.
somebody else go and vote in your place.
Yeah, and if you live in the the Four Corners section of the United States, or you happen to live in New England, where it's a very short distance between a number of states, yeah, you could get around 4 or 5 in a day. If you planned out your route and you started early, you could certainly do that.
It would be incredibly difficult and time-consuming.
It would
and
be.
Why would you do it?
No, I'm saying you got to have somebody go in your place and vote for you.
Yeah, if no ID is required, there's all sorts of ways it could happen. The question is does it really happen? And I think, I look at the Project Veritas videos that have come out. I think there is something to it, and I think the long and storied history of Chicago politics and New York politics going back into the 1800s. Tammany, what's the word?
Tammany Hall?
Yeah, Tammany Hall. I mean, they'll vote early and vote often. I mean, that was the motto. And so I'm sure voter fraud does go on. The question I've always had is it gone on at such a level that it actually sways elections. And that, that's...
And there was the story from last year where an Iowa woman who was going on about voter fraud and we need to crack down on voter fraud, who's a Trump supporter, by the way, was arrested for voter fraud, alleging that she voted twice for Donald Trump in the presidential election. So, yeah, there is some voter fraud, but I think a lot of the people that are going off about, how rampant it is are really, just upset that their candidate might not be doing as well as they had hoped, but then it turned out that their candidate actually wound up winning the election. So if there was voter fraud, was it, them trying to show how easy it is?
Yeah, I nobody knows. Nobody knows exactly what happens, and I just, it's one of those things that I find more of a distraction than anything else. I think we can probably acknowledge that there's probably bad actors in every election. It's going to happen, but does it happen to such a degree that it really sways things? I don't know.
Let's go to the phones. We've got Bad Flav calling in from New Hampshire. Bad Flav, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Thank you, Daryl. Listen, I've been watching politics since somewhere in the middle 70s, and I haven't come across a Democrat or a Republican who I thought would be anywhere near a decent occupant of the White House. So having to reach into different pools of awareness, I think is a good thing. I did vote for Nixon because I didn't know what the heck I was doing in 1972. But ever since then, I voted third party, and in 2004, I no longer consent to be governed, so I don't vote anymore. But
has that prevented you from getting a traffic ticket of any kind or having any interactions with police over the last dozen years?
Has that prevented any of that?
Right. You said that in 2004 you withdrew your consent.
But it is not. It's not what the police do. It's what I do. I intend to go forward honorably, and if I do so, then I'm if I consent to what they're doing to me, then I deserve what I get. If I don't, then at least they're the ones at odds, not I. So
right. I just know that there are the people that say, I just ignore them, and then they'll ignore me, and then they wind up getting arrested for certain things.
I know way better than that. So don't even go there. Thank you very much. But my point is that I choose that I'm not to consent. I don't want anybody to consent. If we get enough people not consenting, Daryl, then we will have that significant minority that we need to make peaceful change.
So how the majority of people don't vote. Is that what you're saying people should do? Because the majority of people already don't vote, which just makes it easier for the minority to rule.
I think that people should wake their own butts up and
we would need the majority of people to act.
Politics is broken.
Yeah, but we would need the majority of people to act and do things like civil disobedience, not a
voting. Majority,
just
a significant minority, along with all the other non-voters.
Yeah.
If
every non-voter refused to pay their taxes, we might be going somewhere.
But
by not voting, they're not doing anything.
I encourage that.
They're just allowing a minority to become
to every capability I have. I do not pay taxes.
Woo!
Good for you. I mean, when
I tell everybody, I said, listen, you've got a job, you want to keep your employment and all that. You should at least walk into your HR department and say, listen, I mistakenly signed this, W-4 or W-9 form. I was reading it more carefully later, and I think that it's a mistake that I'm, agreeing to this. So I withdraw my, withholding of federal taxes. I will manage my own relationship with the federal government, and thank you very much. You have a nice day. And that should be something that us liberty people ought to be doing already. Mm-hmm. And I've yet to get anybody to agree to that. So I don't understand why just going in, at least asking the question, that it is such a big problem.
Yeah.
Well, there are laws that cover it. That's the bad part.
No,
and if you have...
there is no law that says that you have to be a taxpayer at all. Actually, the laws, if you read the laws, the Title 26, you'll find that the tax, the federal income tax, is being unbelievably misapplied.
I don't doubt that.
Let's hold you over, Bad Slave. Let's hold you over. I think you had something else to talk about there. And yeah, I agree with Heather. If the non-voters were also non-taxpayers, things would change a whole lot sooner than just, I'm not voting because reasons, and then bad people do bad things. This is Free Talk Live.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now, 1-800-957-5495. Call now and you'll also qualify for free shipping. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear things crisply and clearly, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so small and discreet, people usually don't even notice you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear things more clearly again for free, with a 100% free in-home trial and free shipping. If you like it, you could even get free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-957-5495. That's 1-800-957-5495. 1-800-957-5495.
What if Extendivite really works, but you find that hard to believe and you spend precious time looking for someone to say, just try it? I have my health today because of Extendivite, and if I did not take a leap of faith and try it, well, I would be on disability today. Take one bottle of Extendivite as suggested for 60 days to find out for yourself. No need to stop any other meds you may be on. You know by now that they are not working for you. Before the 60 days are up, I know that you will feel Extendivite working for you and will want to take another bottle. Life is too short. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin, but imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now to 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We had Bad Slave on in the last segment, bringing him back. We were talking about not voting, not paying taxes, and Chris, you were saying something about the law on employers withholding taxes, and Bad Slave was saying there's not a law that requires them to withhold.
And let me kind of go to where I was going with that. I don't know if I've ever talked to anybody in HR department of any major company that I've worked for that would ever gave me the opportunity. It was always, you must fill out your W-2. No, you cannot work unless you fill out your W-2. You have to do this. So I'm not saying there may be loopholes or the laws just flat out says you don't have to do that, but I'm saying practically, I think most employers follow what they believe the law to be. Does that make sense?
Oh, of course, and that, the downfall. I mean, that people just accept. But if you've got a job and you've got an HR department, just ask the HR department. Say, listen, check with your attorneys and find out if I'm required to have this filled out, by the government.
And they will probably say, yeah, you have to fill it out because everybody has to fill it out.
No,
Bad
they
Slave.
won't say that. You're asking an attorney for an opinion.
No, you're asking the HR department to do something.
The reality is with the form.
Bad Slave, you said... You
What?
said ask the HR department to go to the legal counsel, and they're not going to just go to legal counsel because some peon asked them to go to the legal counsel. I remember the first job I ever had, and Bad Slave, thanks for the call. I remember the first job I ever had working at a Dairy Queen, where I was handed this W-4 and told, you need to fill this out. And I was reading the instructions, and it said, if you meet requirement X, Y, and Z, you can write exempt here. And my understanding was I met requirements X, Y, and Z, so I wrote exempt, and then the manager said, you filled this out wrong. You need to put a high number here. That way they wind up giving you a big refund at the end of the year.
Right.
And basically, he tore up the one that I wrote exempt on and said, you filled it out wrong.
No, you want to do it this way. He's just trying to help.
I do want to point out that I am one of those people that, I wouldn't mind allocating a portion of my paycheck to things of importance, such as, if we were paying taxes and you want to call it tax or donation, but having that come out of my paycheck if it weren't funding things unethical like war and dropping bombs and all of these other disastrous things. If there was a way we could police the tax dollars a little better,
Yeah, unfortunately, the powers that be are never going to give you the option of where your tax dollars go.
Somebody made the argument the other day that that's what re-election is, essentially, that's the accountability. Right. They don't get re-elected if they don't do it. It just stinks because anything that they do wrong in those
what a re-election
2 to 4
is
years.
What a re-election is it's the opportunity to where the legislators get to find out if they were able to choose their constituents properly. Because
gerrymandering.
I guess that's how you look at it, but
right, because when you've got 90+% of representatives getting reelected, there is no real option.
I do think if you were to make taxes voluntary today and let everybody know, I think there'd be a lot of people though that would still keep paying.
Yes, and there are some states that have the option on the state tax return form that says, I didn't pay enough tax, here's more money. And they actually do that in Arizona. And, it's not a huge amount, but they did bring in somewhere near $100,000 one year, I think, in the I didn't pay enough tax line.
But I think it's always an interesting thought experiment the government will absolutely never do. But it's like if you got your menu at the beginning of the year or, fill it out by April 15th, what do you want to support? Do you want to support the Department of Education? Do you want to support the Department of Defense? Okay, you support the national defense. How much of what percentage of your taxes do you want to go towards that versus, health and human services or whatever it happens to be? It's funny because we certainly have the capability to do that today in an Excel spreadsheet. It's not like this is some like amazing technological thing we'd ever have to figure out.
It's crazy too because the things change over the years. Like right now we have like the baby boomers, right, that are all on like Social Security and all these other programs and stuff like that. But 20 years from now, there's going to be less people on those programs. And, you know, right now we might have X amount of kids in school, and then 20 years from now, there's not as many. So how do you? None of those departments are reducing their budgets.
Of course,
they never reduce their budgets,
right?
Despite all the other.
The thing is we have. This is what we have in a representative constitutional republic. This is not our choices. We will not get presented with that granular level of choosing where our money goes. What we're supposed to do is choose the right people to go to Congress and represent us.
Right. And again, going back to the thing where 90% of people wind up getting reelected, and for state rep races, there's somewhere near 40% of the people that have no opposition in the general election. So how are you supposed to make a choice when, 40% of the time you get to choose from one? Do you want to vote for a-hole or not? That's your choice. That's the same choice you get in communist China.
I don't think everybody that runs for office is necessarily an a-hole. They're all...
Not everybody is.
There are some good people that are in positions of leadership and power, you could call it, that I think really are making decisions that they
all of the Liberty representatives here in the New Hampshire legislature all had opposition in the general election.
So that's good. But I look back and we were talking about the congressional approval at what, 15%?
15% now.
Relatively high. So 15% of people think Congress is doing a good job, yet how many percentages, what's the percentage of people who ran for re-election that won? Something like 90%.
It was like 90% of the people that sought re-election wound up winning re-election.
So Congress sucks, except for my congressman. Says everybody in the country.
I think a lot of that, too, though, has to do with so much emphasis being placed on the presidential election that like it almost drowns out all of the smaller ones. So I think
what's the excuse in the off year to where 90% of them wind up still getting reelected?
Because I bet half the number of people turn out to vote those years.
And they vote. Oh, he's the incumbent. I guess he's doing okay.
There are some states to where they actually mark incumbent next to the name of the incumbent.
Right.
Well, I guess maybe that's like if you've been happy over the last several years, you would just check the...
Right, or a name becomes so familiar to you year after year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that guy. I guess he's doing all right.
Yeah, and then I still remember back, like when I first started paying attention to politics in the early 90s, a guy who's now a senator from the state of Alabama, at the time was a congressman, Richard Shelby, who ran for Congress on term limits and basically said, I'm going to stay until we get them.
Nice. That is just brilliant on every level. Is he still in? No.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Shelby?
He's now going to be the senior senator after Jeff Sessions winds up getting appointed to Trump's cabinet.
Well,
how long
see?
Jeff Sessions, the guy that said, quote unquote, good people don't use marijuana.
I understand that. And good people don't. Fun people do. But yeah, I know. It's insanity, and I don't know where the solution lies. I mean, we have the constraints of a constitution, and a lot of the things that bother people a lot are things that are spelled out in the Constitution. Man, did people go ape over the Electoral College?
Well, I mean, even the Constitution somehow led us to like the giant, massive cancer of a government we have today.
As Lysander Spooner said, it has either authorized such tyranny as we have or has been powerless to prevent it. In either case, it is unfit to exist. Now, Chris, you did mention something about, we're a constitutional something, to where, the representatives get to choose how money goes. Things are different at the municipal level here in New Hampshire, to where we have things in a lot of places called town meeting, to where the people that show up get to go line by line and say, no, I think we need to spend $5 more on the city park. I think we need to spend $5 fewer. I think we need to paint the fence blue. I think we need to paint the fence purple. I think we need to paint the fence in rainbow stripes.
It never gets quite that granular, but we do talk about that a lot. And there's basically in New Hampshire, there's towns, there's cities, but there very much is that power. The people of the town are the legislature, and that's what's unique.
And bottom line, get involved in your state and in your local towns and run for office and be the change you want to see.
And in New Hampshire, we have the largest non-national legislative body with 400 state reps. You want more freedom? Come here. You can actually work forward towards getting that. This is Free Talk Live. We'll be back tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $10 lower at $1,190 per ounce. Silver is 12 cents lower at $16.92 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $912 US. Metals continue lower this morning, likely reacting to the Dow rising above 20,000 for the first time. To take advantage and buy on this dip, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The live edition of Flaming Freedom is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.